Welcome back. Today we're going to be simplifying rational expressions. And today I'm going to be showing you a little trick that you can use. You'll be using this trick on today's assignment. When you're doing today's assignment, make sure you're showing all your steps. I want to see the work. And then I want you to take a picture of your work and upload it on Canvas. If you have to take multiple pictures, upload multiple pictures. Make sure the picture is clear and I can read the work. Make sure it's not blurry or anything like that. All right, so let's look at example 1a. We want to simplify this expression. So what we need to do is we need to factor both the numerator and the denominator. So if you look at the numerator, these two terms have a GCF. We can factor out a 3 from both of these terms. So we get 3 times the quantity, 4 minus m. And then on the bottom, we can also pull out another 3. And we get the quantity m minus 4. So now we can cancel out like factors. So we can mark out the 3's. But if you look, on top we got 4 minus m. On bottom we got m minus 4. So these are not the same. They're actually opposites. So whenever you have factors that are opposites, here's the extra trick that you need to do. Either the numerator or the denominator, instead of factoring out a positive 3, let's just factor out a negative 3 on one of them. So let's factor out a negative 3 on the top one. So if I factor out a negative 3 instead of a positive 3, I get this. I get negative 3 times something that needs to give me positive 12. So this 4 is going to become negative. And then I got negative 3 times something that needs to give me negative 3m. Right now it's negative m, so I'm going to have to change that to a positive m. So now if I wanted to, I could rewrite this. I could rewrite this as negative 3 times the quantity m minus 4 over 3 times the quantity m minus 4. So now I could mark out the m minus 4's and the m minus 4's. And the 3's will cancel out, right? But this 3 is negative, so that's like having negative 1 over 1. So this simplifies to negative 1. So this would equal negative 1. And let's not forget about our restrictions. We still need to find the restrictions. Remember, you find the restrictions before you cancel stuff out. So right here, I need to set this factor equal to 0. And this would tell me the values that m cannot be. So if I add 4 to both sides, I get m equals 4. So my answer is negative 1, where m cannot equal 4. So this trick that I'm showing you today is this: when you have opposite factors, what do you do to get those to cancel out? Alright, so let's look at this example B here. Alright, so if I look at example B, let me change the settings here. Alright. We have 10x minus 5 over 1 minus 2x. So on top, my numerator has a GCF of 5. So I can factor out of 5 on these two terms right here. So I'm going to get 5 times the quantity, 2x minus 1. Now if you look at the denominator, 1 minus 2x, it doesn't have a GCF. So you can think of this expression as prime. But if you look at the top, we have 2x minus 1. On the bottom, we have 1 minus 2x. So again, we would have opposite factors. Because you could think as the bottom as being prime, so you can't really factor it. The only factors are 1 and itself. But look, here we got 2x minus 1. Here we got 1 minus 2x. They look like they're the same, but they're not. They're actually the opposite. The 2x is positive on top, negative on bottom. The 1 is negative on top, positive on bottom. So this is what we did in example A. So what we can do is we could factor out a negative 1 on the bottom, or we could factor out a negative 5 on top. It doesn't matter. You only want to do it to one of them. So if you pull out a negative 1 on the bottom, that's going to change this 1 to a negative, and that 2x to a positive. So now you can think as this as being 5 over 2x minus 1. 5 times 2x minus 1 over negative 1 times 2x minus 1. So now I can mark out 2x minus 1s, and I get my simplified answer as 5 over negative 1, which is negative 5. And then we also need to find a restriction. So I should have did that first before I cancel everything out. So let's just get rid of these. So what we can do is we can take our factors in our denominator that are equal, that have x, and set those equal to 0. And then solve that equation. So if we add 1 on both sides, we get 2x equals 1. Divide by 2, we get x equals 1/2. So our restriction is negative 5, where x cannot equal 1/2. Alright, so let's try one more of these. So let's look at example 2a. We haven't seen one like this yet. We're going to be doing some more of these tomorrow, the ones with the trinomials. But it's not that bad of a trinomial. So if you look at the numerator here, we got y squared plus 3y minus 28. So that's a quadratic trinomial. What's nice about it, it has a leading coefficient of 1. So we can do this the short way. We can factor this the short way. Since it has a leading coefficient of 1, we just look at the last number. We got to find some factors of negative 28 that adds to be the middle number, 3. So I need to find two numbers that multiply to be negative 28 and adds to be positive 3. So that's going to be 7 and negative 4. 7 times negative 4 is negative 28. 7 plus negative 4 is positive 3. So the numerator factors to the quantity y plus 7 times the quantity y minus 4. And now let's factor the denominator. Well, the denominator, you should recognize this, is one of those special cases. This is a difference of perfect squares. We get a perfect square minus a perfect square. So the denominator factors to 4 minus y times the quantity y plus 4. And now if we look at this, there's no factors I can cancel out currently. But here I got y minus 4, and down here I have 4 minus y. These two factors are opposites. So what we can do is with one of these factors, doesn't matter which one you use, okay, let's factor out a negative 1 from one of them. So I'm going to do it on the top. So I'm going to pull out a negative 1 from the top, and I'm just going to write it here. So if I put a negative 1 here, what that does is that changes that y to a negative, and this negative 4 to a positive. So this is really now 4 minus y on top instead of negative y plus 4. So now I can mark out this 4 minus y on the bottom with this 4 minus y at the top. But again, I keep forgetting we need to find our restrictions first. So let's go back and do that first before I start canceling everything out. So what are our restrictions? Well, we got to take 4 minus y, set that equal to 0. So minus 4, we get negative y equals negative 4. Divide by negative 1, y equals 4. So one of my restrictions would be y cannot equal 4. Let's find our second restriction. We have a second one because we have two factors in the denominator that contain y. So y plus 4 equals 0. Minus 4, y equals negative 4. So our two restrictions are y cannot equal 4 or negative 4. So now, let's cancel our stuff out. So we can cancel out this 4 minus y with that 4 minus y. Nothing else cancels out. And when you write your answer, I always want you to leave your answer in factor form. Okay? So your final answer should always be in factor form. So it's going to be negative 1 over y plus 7. I'm at negative 1 times the quantity y plus 7 over y plus 4, where y cannot equal positive or negative 4. Make sure you're doing these on your own. I don't want you using Photomath, okay? Because Photomath, it probably won't give you your final answer in factor form. So that'll be a dead giveaway of those students that are using Photomath or some other math program that give you the answers and the steps. So make sure your final answer is in factor form. Again, I'm repeating this is important. So make sure, if you need to, watch this video over again. Take notes on it, okay? And then tomorrow, we're going to be doing some more of these ones that have trinomials.